Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to start to take a look at MongoDB and specifically taking a look at the way that we set up MongoDB inside of a node project and just getting MongoDB installed on your actual system. This will get you familiarized with the way that MongoDB generally works, and we'll discuss a little bit about non-relational databases overall as we discuss more about MongoDB throughout the next few videos in this section. So let's take a look at first how we set up MongoDB. What we're going to do is we're first going to have to install MongoDB server on our actual computer. And the way that we do that is we head on over to mongodb.com. And what you want to do is you want to go into the products and click on Community Edition right here. When you do this, you will get an on-premises version of MongoDB. Now, you can set up MongoDB through the cloud as a service, and then there are various different tools that exist. Setting it up locally is going to be the easiest for us. Now here you can pick whatever distribution you are currently working with. I'm working with Windows, so I use the MSIs. If you're using Linux, there's a whole bunch of different distributions inside of here, and Mac OS as well. You're just going to download the one that you particularly use and just follow the instructions through the installer, and you will be all set up and good to go. Once you have done that, we're going to head over into Node.js, and I've created a new project here with just an index.js file in it. And what we need to do is we need to actually install MongoDB. So we can do npm I MongoDB. Once that has installed, we can set up a connection to MongoDB in our actual program. So the way that we do this is as follows. We're going to set up a Mongo client, which is going to be equal to require MongoDB.Mongo client. So when you're thinking about databases in general, there's a server and then there's a client. So the server is the part that is actually storing the data and maintaining all of that data structure idea. The client is the thing that interacts with the server. So the thing that actually sends the queries, the thing that actually interprets the results, that sort of idea. So that's the idea of what the client is. So that's why we create a client here, because the client is what sends queries over to the server, and then the server is what manages all of the data. That's the same with MySQL as well. The client sends the queries, the server manages the data. So that's why we're creating a client here. Once we have our client set up, we're going to point ourselves towards the URL of the client. If you have set this up locally, it will be at mongodb/localhost:27017/mydb. Now, MyDB in this case is the name of the database that I want to be working with in this project. You're able to set this up as needed. MyDB is just like a simple one that we're going to set up here. Your port number may be different depending on the way that you installed MongoDB, but by default, this is going to be the connection string that you're going to use. If you have set it up with a different connection string, I'm assuming you probably know what that connection string is and know how to connect with it. Once we have this set up, we can go ahead and do a connection. So we could do mongo client.connect. We're going to connect to the URL, and then we're going to set up a function with an error and a DB. The DB is the database connection that is created. We're going to say if an error has occurred, we're going to throw that error. Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and log connected. And then we're just going to go ahead and close our database. So all we're really doing is just testing to see if the connection works. Once we have that all typed out, we're going to type in node index. And you should see the result that says connected. If you see connected, everything is set up successfully and you are good to go. If you see any sort of error, you will need to troubleshoot those errors. Now, the errors that typically happen are related to the actual connection of the database. If you run into any sort of errors, the main things that I would suggest is make sure that MongoDB installed successfully, and then make sure that MongoDB actually is running on your system when it is actually started up. So just make sure that MongoDB is running and that it's installed successfully. If it is, you should get a success like this, assuming you're pointing to the right location for MongoDB. So that's everything that I wanted to cover in this video. We now have a very basic setup of MongoDB set to go. Thank you for watching this video. And in the next section, we're going to start to actually work with MongoDB to get an understanding of how it works in comparison to MySQL and relational databases.